Ladies and gentlemen, this is a truly historic day and moment. Hit subscribe to this channel, to my super chat on this live stream. I cannot do these live streams without you. If you want to give me your thoughts on today and anything to do with the midterms, because Democrats are going to roll into midterms without being able to say, hey, you better vote for us or Roe v. Wade will be overturned. It's already been overturned. Going to explain exactly why that happened. And it's the fault of the Democratic Party in 2016 cheating Bernie Sanders. We can look right here, and we'll spend about an hour doing so. Hit subscribe. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Thank you, everybody. Eric, thank you. Ronald, everybody here. Barbie, hello. Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign as DNC chair as email. Scandal rocks Democrats. Most people don't see the correlation. Do you understand? Most people don't get how the DNC emails and Bernie Sanders being cheated in the primary, Debbie Wasserman Schultz being forced to resign in disgrace, 3 other Democratic officials being forced to resign. I vote for Trump because I vote against Lincoln Project and Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld foreign policy. That's one of the main, if not, that's the main reason. Okay? In addition to other reasons, I want a great economy, a lot of other reasons too. But that's how you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump, and that's how you don't vote for Clinton in 2016. And you just say Bernie or bust. And Bernie Sanders would have been the same type of Democrat as Joe and everyone else. But my point is, even though I support Trump and I vote against the Lincoln Project and against never-ending counterinsurgency quagmires and possible nuclear confrontations, which Democrats have been trying desperately, apparently with their misguided and horrendous foreign policy, trying desperately to achieve for some reason, along with the destruction of our economy. You get to this point in American history because at that moment in 2016, Bernie Sanders would have won. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine. I had a front row seat. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. And I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I can tell you he would have won Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Bernie Sanders would have. Now, he would have been a terrible president. Terrible. Because if you can't stand up to the DNC, you can't lead the country. But I thought that he was a different type of person. Now, I'm sure he's a good human being, good father, grandfather, all that. But he was cheated. They could have had 3 Supreme Court justices. I wrote in The Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon. I was on MSNBC and CNN, and I was telling them that Clinton was unelectable. I stated that. NPR quoted me. The link is on my website, hagoodman.com. I have to actually, I'm looking to revamp that website also. I have to add the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel, and my article in the Federalist. So I have to add that to my website. But ladies and gentlemen, they would have won at that moment in time, okay? Which meant that for Democrats or progressives or left-leaning, activists or pro-choice activists, they shouldn't be vandalizing pro-life clinics, okay? I love how the media is completely silent on that. They shouldn't be intimidating Marjorie Taylor Greene or anyone. What they're doing is experiencing the consequences of their own behavior and actions. Okay? At that moment in time, Bernie Sanders would have won. They did not want Bernie Sanders. They wanted to utilize him the way they utilize AOC and others to funnel left-leaning votes back into the Democratic Party. That's what they do. They wanted to utilize him to funnel votes back into the Democratic Party. And it didn't work out because when you have a primary and you tell people it's fair and neutral, you're giving millions upon millions of people throughout the country the belief that you are actually abiding by what you say, that anyone can win, that meritocracy will allow somebody to win. If meritocracy, like if people aren't able to truly compete on a level playing field, then you are not going to get the best candidate. That's what a primary is for. That's what a political primary is for. That's why Mashed Potato Brains Joe never even made it past Iowa. But that's another story. Okay, and our Vice President, Kamala Harris, didn't even make any of the primaries, didn't even make the primary. So Bernie Sanders would have won. He would have then had a Democrat, three liberal Supreme Court justices. Okay? Three, and then they actually did away with the supermajority 60 vote. It was Democrats did away with the 60 vote supermajority to go ahead for Supreme Court nominations. And McConnell said this is going to bite you in the rear end. And they didn't care. So they got three conservative justices from Trump that were more conservative than justices that would have been appointed had they not did away with the 60 vote supermajority. Okay? But this is something that like the Democratic Party is incapable of doing. And like left-leaning people, they're not capable of looking in the mirror. They're simply not capable of saying, okay, this is why it happened. This is why we are experiencing this. And if you look, ladies and gentlemen, look at the reaction. Like, you can go to any liberal or progressive or left-leaning left-leaning YouTube channel, and they're shocked and outraged, and oh my God, it's so horrible, it's this, it's that, it's terrible. It's really, really horrible. Why is this happening? How could this have happened? It's like, we're living in 2016. We are living in 2016. We are living right now. This is a consequence of 2016. It's a consequence of 2016. You can't go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and wonder if you are a Democratic voter. First of all, a Democrat, this is the worst possible thing to happen to the Democratic Party. I'm not 100% sure it's the best thing to happen to the country, to tell you the truth. Might not be the best thing to happen to the country, in my view. But in terms of the Constitution, the Constitution doesn't mention, okay? It doesn't even mention, or they tried to say, well, the 14th Amendment, it's linked to the 14th Amendment. It has nothing to do with the 14th Amendment. It has nothing to do with the 14th Amendment. This is essentially a medical procedure. And the argument of, well, it's my body and all that, that unfortunately for pro-choice activists, that's a battle, an ideological battle you're going to have to win in red states. And this is how you win that battle. You don't engage in vandalism or intimidation. Dinah Deny, hello. You don't engage in vandalism or intimidation. You have to actually state your case and form a coherent, logical, rational argument that's compelling. Try to convince people of your argument. Try to convince people of your argument. Don't just screech and yell and scream and pout and stomp your feet. Nobody cares about the indignation of Democrats or of media nobody cares. And that's the thing, like, they don't understand, they don't get that. They don't get that. They don't understand that people are not going to be intimidated to change their mind. People change their mind from listening and debating and being convinced You have to convince other people that you're right in life. You have to do that in relationships sometimes. You have to do that at work. You have to do that in life. You don't intimidate and try to coerce. That's what they do with these this consensus, alleged consensus always. Okay? You have to actually state exactly why the pro-choice argument is a better argument than the pro-life argument. You don't just vandalize pro-life clinics, or you don't intimidate Republican or conservative Supreme Court justices. That's the thing that they do. They think that, see, every advantage that they have, they don't have Twitter. Think about that for a second. I mean, it's gonna be a political annihilation, an annihilation from a political sense, this midterms. I mean, hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Watch, watch the live streams for the midterms in September, October, and November on this channel. It's going to be historic. Could be up to 70. It'll be over 60 votes. I mean, 60 seats in the House. It'll very likely break the 2010 record. But this is Trump Republicans now. Trump did this. Every conservative, and I'm not a conservative, I'm a conservative on the Second Amendment and a lot of other issues. In the economy, maybe society, a lot of social issues I've become so much more conservative on. This issue with the Roe v. Wade, I might be a tiny bit more liberal. I'm not exactly sure it's the best thing for the country because of the shock that the nation will experience in terms of, people who want the procedure in red states. So we'll see how that turns out. It's probably not going to be as detrimental to people as Democrats foresee it to be. But this is the National Review. I was looking. The National Review said it's the greatest achievement the greatest conservative achievement of all time. The greatest achievement in conservative politics, only made possible by Donald Trump. Only made possible by Donald Trump. Okay? And the Paul Ryans and the Mitt Romneys and the Richard Burrs and the Never Trump Republicans of the world, the Adam Kinzingers and the Liz Cheneys, they didn't make this possible. So if you think this is the greatest achievement in conservative political history, you have to thank Donald Trump. And so you have to understand the Republican Party under Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney and the Liz Cheney, Bush, the Bush-Rumsfeld-Cheney Republican Party after 2008, or even by 2006, 2007, but definitely after 2008, was weak. The Republican Party was a weak political party. And they would have gotten obliterated by Clinton. So I said Hillary Clinton would lose, and she did lose in 2016. But they would have, if it was Mitt Romney, they would have been obliterated. And the interesting thing is, they always wanted, and take a screenshot of this before it's removed. They always wanted Trump. Inside Team Clinton's year-long struggle to find a strategy against the opponent they were eager to face. They were eager to face. It wasn't the Kremlin back then. This was a day before. This was a fantastic article. Great journalist, fantastic article. This refutes everything we've heard the past 6 years, that Russia and the Kremlin and others wanted to interfere. There was no interference. They lost. They miscalculated dreadfully. Okay, they wanted, the DNC emails show they elevated Trump. They wanted Trump. They lost miserably. In every way, they lost miserably. And, I I'm glad that I'm not like a household name, and I'm glad that like people, my channel's almost at 200,000 subs, and you know, I have my wonderful, beautiful, loyal, base of viewers, and I'm very proud. Thank God every day that I have everyone watching here and everyone who watches this channel and the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash at 10,000 or lower channel. I thank God every day that I have, you know, my viewers. But nobody really listened to me at all in 2016. They didn't really listen. They didn't care. They thought I was like an annoying little tiny obstacle or somebody that needed to be um, disparaged. This was when I was on the left. The Daily Beast wrote a completely unethical, inaccurate hit piece on me just because I wouldn't talk to a journalist I knew was just going after me. And it's because of that type of person. It's because of the malicious. And then, like, there's one publication that's no longer around. They wrote like 5 hit pieces on me for it. They're kind of hilarious. They were so proud that Hillary wasn't indicted. Kaylee, thank you. And I was telling everybody in 2016, not that anybody cares. Nobody even remembers 2016. Do you understand? It's ancient history. You might as well read Plato's Republic or, History of the Peloponnesian Wars by Thucydides, or you might as well just, DVK, thank you. Thank you so much, DVK, thank you. I mean, you might as well, you know, you might as well go back to biblical times or the creation of the planet. I mean, it's like 5 years ago or 6 years ago is basically ancient history. Ancient history. They don't really they don't the way media and Democrats and Hollywood and morally superior liberals and the fantastic people and progressives and left-leaning activists and leftists, and the way they look at the world is the following. It has to be their way. If it's not their way, it's a big problem. It's immoral if it's not their way. They're going to disown friends and family if that person decides to vote for Trump. And they don't ever look in the mirror. Anyone who dissents, any dissenting viewpoint is crushed. They tried, ladies and gentlemen, to crush me. It didn't work out. It didn't work out for anyone that tried to. And it didn't work out for the Democratic Party. They tried to disparage me, but I didn't do anything wrong. See, I only told the truth. I only they wrote hit pieces on me, but I've lived a good life. So one journalist couldn't find anything because I lived a good life. And they want to silence and crush you, but they couldn't with me. And they want to crush you also psychologically. They want to disparage and mock and denigrate and insult you. But the thing is, that only works if you have a modicum of respect for the people insulting you. I despised most of the people who were going after me. I had zero respect for them. Absolutely zero respect. DVK, thank you. Wow. DVK. And so it's like they do that with any topic, by the way. Any topic, they demand obedience and allegiance. They demand, thank you, Dana, thank you. They demand obedience, allegiance. They demand groupthink. And if you don't agree with them, it's the end of the world. And that's the key to surviving the Democratic Party. I mean, I survived being a liberal my whole life, a progressive, Whatever that means. Who knows what that means? I don't even know what that means now. Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton are progressives, so I don't know. Exactly. Eric, great point. That is probably the best point I've heard. Eric, they demand tribalism. They demand it, and they live with it. And now they won't be able to say, if you don't vote Democrat, they will overturn Roe v. Wade. It's already happened. That was the greatest and most effective fear tactic. And they don't have that, people. This is the beginning of the end of the modern Democratic Party. Okay? This is the beginning of the end of the modern Democratic Party. This is the beginning of the political decline of the DNC and Democrats. And they did this to themselves. Take a screenshot, people. Take a screenshot, because they always wanted Trump, and it wasn't the Kremlin. It was they wanted Trump. Take a screenshot because, it's been that is a fantastic article. Politico had some really good writers also in 2016. But my writing, ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, 2016 was hundreds of thousands of views for just one article, two articles. Almost every article got tens of thousands of views. And they won't be able to say, hey, if you don't vote Democrat, the Supreme Court. That was the most effective tactic. Think about that now. They don't have Twitter. Exactly, Tammy. It's self-inflicted. They don't have Twitter. They don't have the Supreme Court argument anymore. They want to do away with the Supreme Court, which is really hilarious after spending 5 years saying, Trump, he's doing away with our institutions. Oh, Trump. And they don't have Twitter because Elon Musk is going to allow the platform to actually be like a normal platform that actually functions. And so they won't have their most effective social media tool to enforce conformity and groupthink and consensus and create absurd, scandals or controversies just from Twitter. They won't have, Theodore, hello. They won't have, you better vote. You better vote. You better vote. You better vote. Democrat. Do you want to overturn? Do you want the Supreme Court to overturn Roe? It's already happened. So now why should I vote Democrat? Did you want Supreme Court? It already happened. So now why should I vote Democrat? Some guy, hello. It already happened. So now what? Now what? Now why are we? Now why would anyone vote Democrat? To be insulted? You could. Why would you? Why would you just? Why would you vote Democrat now? I'm wondering. I'm really wondering why anyone would just decide to vote Democrat. It makes no sense to me. You're not going to go ahead and you're not going to worry about the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade because it happened. You did it to yourself, Democrats, by cheating Bernie Sanders. He would have won those 3 states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. He would have won. Barely would have won. There would have been 3 liberal justices, but you didn't want that, did you? No. Everybody had to fall. And I listened to like a couple of the top YouTube liberal YouTubers, and oh my God, shocked and outraged, and outraged and shocked. This is basically, if you ever see a Democrat, don't ever ask how you're doing, because the answer is going to be outraged and stunned and shocked. Hey, how you doing, Democrat? Outraged. Oh, okay. Next day, how you doing? Outraged. I'm outraged. They're never happy. They're never happy. Never happy. They didn't like Trump. He was installed by the Kremlin. Oh, they hated him. They can't stand Trump. He was undermining our democracy. Then the Supreme Court is basically, is the epitome of democracy. Gives a decision they don't like. Oh, we don't like it. It's bad for democracy. Trump, bad for democracy. Supreme Court, bad for democracy. Everything's bad for democracy they don't like. Everything they don't like is bad for democracy. Dustin, hello. Everything they don't like is bad for democracy. You can never have. Imagine living with somebody like that. Imagine. How you doing, honey? Upset and shocked and outraged. But it's a nice day. I'm outraged. But Trump isn't in office anymore. Oh, you remember the Danny, I think that he would have been just the Democrats would have controlled everything he did. I think the Democrats would have controlled everything that Bernie Sanders did had he won. And he would have won at that moment in time. I'm glad Trump won. Because we had energy independence for a moment, a second. Now we have fossil fuels through the roof, and basically the oil and gas industry Democrats want to do away with, which makes no sense because we have no alternative. Yes, no alternative, not good. But imagine the Democratic strategists now. The Supreme Court of the United States of America. The Supreme Court of the United States of America has made a landmark decision. And they're going to have to live with it. Now, the more vandalism and outrage, and see, the thing is, the way media, you don't want endless chaos before midterms. Okay? Democrats didn't care about a whole summer of $1 to $2 billion in property damage, even though I agree with the cause. But you don't want $1 to $2 billion in property damage ever. But see, that the way they phrased it is Trump. He's trying to prevent peaceful people from demonstrating. Trump. Now we're going into midterms. You're going into midterms. And what do Democrats have to show for it? They're presiding over, it's not really mashed potato brain's fault, but you have Theodore, thank you. They're going into midterms. Roe v. Wade overturned in a recession and a geopolitical crisis in Europe and other problems in terms of geopolitics. So tell me what's good. Could they it's almost as if they try their best to destroy the country. The decision, they say, well, it's not our fault. Yeah, you cheated Bernie Sanders. You cheated Bernie Sanders, so, I think that you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where it's only going to get worse politically. So it's only going to get DVK. Thank you so much, DVK. It's only going to get worse politically. And I don't see any way Democrats can spin this. If they're outraged and if they're angry, it's going to hurt them in midterms. They can't simply accept it because it's like one of the pillars of why you vote Democrat. That's what they do all the time. It's like the laziest, most despicable type of politics. Well, if you don't vote for a horrible candidate, the Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade. Well, it's already happened. Now what? It's already happened. Now what? I mean, they don't have any response to it. They don't have any response to it. And they can't look in the mirror because they wanted Donald Trump. It wasn't the Kremlin. It was the DNC, literally in the emails, wanted Trump as they were cheating Bernie Sanders. Debbie Wasserman Schultz and 3 other Democratic officials resigned. Here you have heads roll at DNC. 3 months until, Donna Brazile cleaned house, and 3 top DNC officials, Amy Dacey, Louis Miranda, Brad Marshall, all leaving the organization. DNC announced Tuesday afternoon. Why were they leaving? Okay, because the DNC email showed that they cheated Bernie Sanders. That's really the issue here. It's actually like, if you don't like the exactly, Richard, it's fear politics. Wild Cajun! Thank you, Wild Cajun, to my super chat. Thank you. Ronald, hello. Wild Cajun, thank you. To my super chat. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Wild Cajun, thank you. You're going to see a shift in even media, even intelligence agencies. You'll see it. This actually is the best thing for Donald Trump, too. This is, okay, Wild Cajun, thank you. In terms of the impact on society, I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have. Because I just don't know. I don't think any... I think that it'll probably be very bad for states to outright ban it. You don't want to do that immediately. If you want to restrict it to a certain time period, like the 15 weeks, but banning it's going to hurt the state. But see, that's up to state politics. You're going to the Democrats in Mississippi or Alabama or red states, they're going to have to explain. It's not difficult. Here, I'll do the Democratic Party's work for it. I'm a Democratic strategist. Just go ahead and say this. Wild Cajun, thank you again. Thank you so much. To my super chat, I can't do this without you people. Thank you. This is all they have to do. Okay? This is all they have to do. Here's why the pro-choice argument is better than the pro-life argument. Here's why. Let me explain to you in an eloquent, thoughtful, compelling, rational, coherent manner. Let me talk to you. Let me give you stories of people who didn't have the choice. Let me try to convince you in a manner that uses logic and reason, discourse, debate, discussion, dialogue. But they don't want that. They don't like any of that. They don't like any of that. That's not how they roll. That's not how Democrats do things. Okay? That's not how Democrats do things. They simply do not want to talk about their political viewpoints because their political viewpoints oftentimes are based on emotion. There's a rational pro-choice argument, but you won't hear that argument. It's just outrage, indignation, disgust, anger, contempt, disdain. That's what they roll with. That's what they roll with. Wild Cajun, thank you again. Exactly. They don't see. It's always like you see what they did to Marjorie Taylor Greene and the pro-life clinics, and they relish state power when it suits them. They stood behind Peter Strzok and Comey and the Federal Bureau of Investigation when it was going after Trump, and they loved the Mueller probe. Oh, they loved that special counsel. They didn't like the Durham probe. No, they don't like the Supreme Court decision today. But the way they operate is just they slither towards power and influence. They will gravitate towards power and influence, and it has nothing to do with reason and logic. It has nothing to do. And politics is supposed to be about debate, discussion, dialogue, discourse. They don't even go there. They've learned that if they can intimidate, and that's why. Look, why do you think they wrote hit pieces on me? Like I'm not. I have a relatively small growing channel. I mean, it's decent size, but it's growing. But why do you think they wrote hit pieces on me? Why do you think they go after Jimmy Dore or Tim Pool? Why do you think they do that all the time? Why do you think they're obsessed with Dave Rubin? Because the way Democrats work is intimidation. They can't actually voice or articulate their viewpoints in a coherent manner. They cannot simply voice their opinion in a rational, logical manner. I got text messages from friends. The most, vicious text message. Well, what are you talking about? Go ahead and try to convince, not intimidate. Sheena Ray! Sheena! Thank you! Sheena, thank you so very much. What a wonderful day. Hi, H.A. Hello, Sheena. Sheena, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. My Nana, exactly. Thank you, Sheena. It's either pronounced Ray or Ree, but Sheena, thank you so very, very much. I can't do this without you. Sheena and Wild Cajun, thank you. Sheena, greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. To my super chat, thank you. But why do you think they go after, Elon Musk now? Anyone who falls outside of the matrix, it's like they have a computer program. Sheena and Wild Cajun, everybody here, and Richard, everybody here, they have a computer program. Chris, hello. It's this computer program. It's like the Matrix. They are stuck in a matrix. They are stuck in a matrix. And they can't possibly get out of their little bubble. They have Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, pretty much all of late night, The Washington Post, The New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, all of Hollywood, the entire music industry. You can't watch an award show without being lectured about Democratic politics, because that's what it's basically about. And you can't, they have social media algorithms. You couldn't talk about Hunter's emails. You can't talk about, Twitter, people would get suspended left and right for basically voicing the same type of opinion as somebody on the left, but they would get suspended. The Washington Post and the New York Times are extensions, like the MSNBC, CNN, all of media, the New Yorker, the Atlantic, New York Magazine, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Rolling Stone. You could go on forever. Almost every publication, Los Angeles Times, NPR, Wikipedia has leans to the left. You can go ahead, if there is anyone conservative, all the hit pieces will be cited. Hit pieces by liberal publications. Ronald Foos! My wife Sandy says hello. She pretends she doesn't listen to the live show. Sandy! Thank you! Ronald, hello! Hello, Ronald. Thank you again. Thank you as always, Ronald Foos. Thank you. Ronald Foos, Wild Cajun, Sheila. Thank you. So I mean, they basically like all they do is intimidate, and they won't have like when they lose this, when they lose, they already lost the ability to. So you cannot from for forever for the past 40 years. It was vote Democrat or Roe v. Wade will be overturned. Vote Democrat or Roe v. Wade will be overturned. Now it's overturned. Twitter is no longer, an extension of the Democratic Party. Now, when the Washington Post and New York Times become more conservative, because eventually they'll have to be more conservative, the country is eventually becoming more conservative, but in a libertarian manner. Like, the people who pontificate and preach used to be Republicans, they're now Democrats. And things are changing. Conservatives really don't care what you do with your life. I mean, there are certain issues that, like, you don't want, like, there's obviously debate about what's being taught or what's being allowed. But other than that, generally, the people who want to, like, micromanage your life, that's the Democratic Party. It used to be more the Republican Party. But, I mean, now you have. It's interesting, too, because Trump. CMW! You love what you do, and it makes me smile. Thank you, CMW. You are awesome. I cannot thank you enough always for your support, CMW. I do love what I do, and honestly, I swear to God, CMW, it is a pleasure and an honor to have everyone here. I have a great comment section. I have a great live, stream in CMW. You're so awesome and generous all the time. I can't thank you enough. But it's fun to be able to speak to a wonderful group of people all the time. And I don't have like anyone negative in the comment section is rare. And I've had other YouTubers tell me, you have a great comment section. CMW, I've had other YouTubers, pretty big YouTubers too, tell me, your comment section is awesome. Because it is. Because it's just awesome. And it's just a pleasure, and it's like an honor, and it's a gift and a blessing to be able to just voice my thoughts. CMW, thank you so very much. I got a little burned out from writing. I was gonna write this article about Bitcoin but then the crash. Like, I was gonna say the whole thing was gonna crash, and then it really crashed. But you know what? Unfortunately, I think Coinbase and Tether and all these are gonna cease to exist. Unfortunately, so I'll probably might write an article about that. But it's just it's really wonderful to be able to speak to you, CMW, and everybody here, because it's really fun and it's great. I mean, also you have to understand, I went through I had to leave what's called the Democratic cult. And every single day when I was on the left, see, this is like ever since I became a Trump supporter, it's been calm, relaxed. I don't have to deal with, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. The Supreme Court, you better do it. You're a Trumper. You're Trump. And it's like, or like, you're not left-leaning enough. You're not this. You're not that. You're not, it's always, you have to watch your back every single day on the left. It's always some beef. It's always somebody trying to take you down. It's just always somebody complaining about you. Always this and that. And there are like 25 different factions. They've sliced and diced the Democratic Party. And now, as I holding a pen, I just dropped it. Fantastic. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, it's all the way there. CMW, remember the bobbleheads? Yes. Yes, that's old school. I had so many great bobbleheads. And I actually don't know what happens to them. I think I do. I had so many great bobbleheads. I had a Trump, Clinton. I had like Theodore Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln. All these the bobbleheads were fantastic. CMW, remember that. Thank you again, CMW. So greatly appreciated. Thank you. Ronald, you remember the bobbleheads? My Nana! My Nana, thank you. Thank you, my Nana, thank you. But this is how it was before Roe v. Wade, okay? Overturned. Who are you going to vote for? It's 2016. Well, they cheated Bernie Sanders, so. So what? So what if they cheated Bernie Sanders? Are you a Trumper? Are you a Make America Great Again monster? Huh? No, I think I'm going to sit this one out because I don't feel right about it. They cheated a candidate, and the DNC email showed he was cheated, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. So I don't really want. So you're going to allow a Republican? You're going to allow a Republican to get 3 Supreme Court justices? Well, no, actually, you are, because you know that there are going to be people who aren't born to serve the Democratic Party and who have functioning, critical thinking skills and who are, free and alive and they can do what they want. So those people exist, like H.A. Goodman, and they're not going to vote and fall in line. So why did you cheat Bernie Sanders? You should have thought about that. You don't have to think about anything. All of those people are going to vote Democrat. You're going to lose anyway because Clinton's going to win. Okay? And Trump's going to lose. Ha ha. Bernie was crushed. Okay, well, you're going to lose, and then you're going to blame another country, and then it's going to be overturned because Bernie Sanders would have actually won. But you know what? Thankfully, he didn't, because it would have been a catastrophe for the country, I think. But that's the way it is. That's what they do all the time. Every day on the left is an unhappy. It really is, unfortunately, sadly, an unhappy day. It's just always unhappy. Your Medicare for All plan stinks. No, your Medicare for All plan stinks. It's never going to happen. They don't even want it. In a million years, Joe Mashed Potato Brain said he'd veto it anyway. You're going to vote for a candidate that doesn't care about the environment and climate change? Well, eventually Joe is flooding strategic oil reserves and doing away with the gas tax and trying desperately and blaming oil companies for not pumping more oil when he does everything possible to prevent them from pumping oil. I mean, they always go, and everything they touch turns to the fertilizer that's now 300, 400% more expensive. They did this to themselves. Look, it's like, do you remember the Seahawks? Scooter 77! Scooter 77, thank you so very much. Thank you, Scooter 77. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Scooter 77, CMW. Everybody, remember the Seahawks years back? Okay, well, 5 years ago or so. 6 years ago, I forgot when. 7 years ago, I forgot when. They had the ball on the 1-yard line against the Patriots. Okay. They could have handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch. They handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch. See, they had won the year before. So if they handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch, then they would have gone back-to-back, right? Or like 2 out of 3 years, something like that. They threw the ball. It was intercepted. One of the greatest interceptions of all time. Okay. But you did it to yourself. That's like Democrats throwing the ball on 3rd and goal. Don't do that. It's like that meme with somebody putting a stick in his tire or in the spokes of his wheel. Scooter 77, thank you. CMW, thank you. Everybody here, thank you. Oh my God! I'll just say the former ESPN announcer. Oh my God Almighty! I have to. Okay, hold on one second. They're going. Uh, I'm not even gonna say his name. I'm not gonna even say his name. He calls it spring. He was calling for the dissolution yesterday. Lord knows what he's saying now. Oh, look at this. Oh my God. That's pretty rational. And then he's like, here's a missing cat alert. Oh, these people are worse than Satan. Hey, has anyone seen a missing cat? That's all the Supreme Court. He was so good too. Oh my God. You know what? Being a morally superior liberal just really just like it makes you so bitter and oh my God, it's just how are you going to dissolve the Supreme Court? Okay. Okay. It's become necessary to dissolve the Supreme Court of the United States. Really? Oh, that's rational. The first step is for the state the court has now forced. No one's forcing anything. Great. You're a court. Why and how do you think you can enforce your rulings? Okay. That sounds like a segregationist in that sounds like a segregationist in the 60s or 50s. The Supreme that actually will yeah, the country though has to abide by the Supreme Court. And if states don't, then guess what? There are lawsuits that go back to the Supreme Court, and then they'll be enforced one way or another. Sorry, you lose. You lose. Um. Oh my God. Okay, hold on one second. Oh my God Almighty. Ignore the Supreme Court. Okay. This is not yesterday with the Second Amendment. This is not. It hasn't been a good time for morally superior liberals. I mean, they did this to themselves. Herschel Ballard, thank you. Bogdana Papai, thank you. Bogdana Papai, thank you. I hope all is well. Bogdana Papai, thank you again. Herschel Ballard, thank you. I just saw your super chats. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody. Wow. Wow. Definitely not a good 2 days. So this is just not gonna be good for Democrats going forward. It's unbelievable. Exactly, Justin. Who made him king? Exactly. Wow, this is so interesting. Bogdana Papai, thank you. CMW, thank you. Herschel, thank you. Scooter77, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching an hour. I want to thank you all very, very much. I'm going to finish up an upload, and I'll have the upload ready by around 9:30 tonight. So it'll be up by 9:30. Please go ahead and be on this channel about 9:15 or so, 9:30. You'll see the upload, and it'll talk about how the Democratic Party is pretty much over. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so much, everybody. CMW, Bogdana Papai, Herschel Ballard, everyone here, thank you. And truly historic day, and they did this to themselves. Anything that happens, just respond with, shouldn't have cheated Bernie. Shouldn't have cheated Bernie. Because I know, like, this weekend, or like, I'll get, like, from friends or family, you think that's good? You think that's good? What happened? Shouldn't have cheated Bernie. That's the only response. Give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless. Have a great, great evening. CMW, everyone here, Bogdana Papai, Herschel, thank you so very, very much. Thanks, everybody.